All right, what's up, guys? So, Wear Testers has uploaded the official review of the Air Jordan 6 Salesman Reverse Infrared 2026. Bro, what's up? I'm telling you, man, like the names, it's going to probably be like 10, 20 years down the road. They're going to be like the Air Jordan 6 Reverse, Double Reverse Salesman Infrared. Hashtag blessed, this like all these different names. I'm like, fam, they just call them the infrared. Like, I know. So what's crazy is that I seen the thumbnail and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Those are the infrareds. I didn't even realize that they were re-releasing them. Like, I remember when they released them back in 2019, because no, it was actually a crazy story behind that. So it snowed really bad out here in Washington. I go up to this because I went to all these different stores the day before, and or I think no, it wasn't the day before. It was like maybe a few days before. I went to all these different stores and asked them, and I was all like, "Hey, so what's the situation with the infrareds?" And so they had or actually no, it snowed. The snow eventually melted. Then the trucks, I guess the deliveries, they were a little bit delayed. There was one store that did have like a few pairs, but all the other stores had it where you were having to do raffles and stuff. So I went to the store where I was like, okay, I'm gonna try my luck with the store with the few pairs. Go in there. This one woman, she bought like three different pairs. The one guy, he bought a pair, and then it was down to one size left. So it was me, I have a size 10. I think this other dude that was in there, his was a size, I think he wanted a size 11. And I think this other dude, smaller guy, he wanted a size 8. So then the cashier walks out and they was like, all right, so we got good news and bad news. Good news is that you guys can still get raffle tickets if you wanted to for 3 o'clock later on today. But the bad news is that we only have one size left, and it's a size 10. The way that my heart had synced, I'm like, fam, like the sneaker gods, like it no, like the planets, they all lined up. The sneaker gods, they came through that day, So yeah, that was a hashtag blessed moment. I was like, no, it really tripped me out though, because I was like, man, I after that never had that type of luck again with sneakers. Like there's been times where I've gone in there and they be like, oh yeah, this is the last pair we have left and stuff, but to have it where it's like a popular pair like that, yeah, no, that was rare occasions. But no, anyways, let's go ahead, check out this video, see what this all about. Make sure if you guys have it, definitely go check out Wear Testers. This is a channel when I review sneakers. This is a channel that I reference a lot. So, but anyways, yeah, make sure if you guys have it, go check them out. And with that being said,
over at Jordan Brand again, great storytelling on this guy. Like this is the way to do it. Like this is what OG fans have been asking for, and on top of that, this teaches the newcomers what's what.
oh, so it might be different from that 2019 pair.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look at these bad boys right here. This is the not so infrareds. It's kind of weird. I'll just get it out of the way right off the top. Because if you're looking at the box, it says black and light crimson. So the color is not infrared.
Oh,
It says that it's infrared everywhere else. But we do know what they're pointing towards, so I just thought that that was a little comical. But either way.
Hello, my name is Elena Kurama. I was born with gills like fish.
What? You like my hoodie?
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Why, thank you. This is the brand new Cinch drop. Pre-orders will begin next week on January 29th. They will be open for, I think, like 4 days or something like that. So right around February 2nd, we'll close shop. So if you're interested in grabbing one of these guys, make sure that you do it within the pre-order window.
like 4 days
once you miss out,
okay. I get
it.
I got one more day. Check out some stuff.
Links will be down below in the description box. And with that being said,
I honestly, because I don't know, maybe I just haven't really been paying attention to sneakers, but I didn't even hear about these releasing. If so, I probably would have been, sitting down thinking to myself, should I buy them? Should I not buy them? Then I probably would have talked myself into buying them. But I mean, I don't know. Like if they're going for under retail, then I might consider it. But if they're going over retail, then I'm like, nah, bro. But it's like, yeah, I didn't even see them in stores or nothing. Like I felt like it wasn't too long ago. I went to was it because it was, yeah, I think it was Chic, and I was like, it wasn't that long ago. But maybe I should have went to like Foot Locker and Champs and stuff like that. But that was a life as a kid, just sitting back watching TV.
they start telling the story on these guys straight away, right from the box. So they're not using the box to depict the color.
Yeah.
They kind of are, but like this is one of those things where like they're telling you everything right from the jump. This is like really cool. So for those of you guys that don't know, this is the Air Jordan 6, what a lot of people just call the reverse infrareds, but basically this was a mistake. They were getting ready to launch or relaunch for the very first time in the year 2000, the black and infrared 6s. So it was going to be their first time retro. And a lot of people got super excited about that because obviously this is championship #1 for MJ. And then when everybody saw the first promo catalog shots, whether it was in East Bay magazine or otherwise, they were expecting to see one of these. And instead they saw this and people were pissed. The horror. But essentially the sampled pair ended up becoming an error pair, and they definitely didn't release like this. They released the infrared 6s the way that they should have been. But then it got people thinking, obviously years later, what about these? So what they're trying to tell you is that this pair is technically a promo sample, or what they would also call a salesman sample. And that's where this box comes in. This is I will say this is a great way to tell a story, but I do think that they're blending two stories together, but it's not that big of a deal.
I guess, like, I don't know, like with me, I just, as long as it looks like the pair that I want, that's all that. I mean, obviously if it was a fake, then yeah, I'd have a problem with that, but I don't know, like maybe it's one of those things where I'm not heavily invested in the sneakers. Well, then again, I'm like the whole wallet stuff, but no, but it's just, I don't know, like I guess I probably would have been that one person where I'm, I have my pair and I'm happy that I have my pair. Everybody else is mad. I'm like, I don't know what y'all mad for. I'm like, my thing is this, I guess, like what the price of like sneakers, because I think when I got those, they were like $220. I'm gonna force myself to be happy.
Not like the Space Jam 11s where it was like Space Jam or PEs, you know what I mean? Like two different things. This is essentially the same thing. It's kind of like semantics. It just like depends on the pair. But that's what this box is all about. That's why it's so plain. It's just a basic cardboard box. Some sales samples, when they're made, will come in just a regular plain box like this. And a lot of times they'll just have like a regular plain label. It'll just list what's inside the box. So that's what the box is all about. When you open it up, that's essentially the label that you would typically see on the outside of the box. Ooh. And then sometimes the samples don't even come in a box. Like I have plenty of samples. They're all over the place. So I'm not gonna grab one, but or maybe should I? I know where one is. So let me hold on. I'll be right back. Similar color scheme. That's kind of convenient. But anyways, this is the Puma RS Dreamer, but this is a high top version, never released in this colorway. These were for J. Cole. My bad. It was just a brain fart, okay? I know who he is. But either way, this sample right here did not.
Yeah, I remember he did, yeah, because there was those black ones that he came out with. And there was, like, after that, at least I didn't see no more. It just seemed like Puma, they were just like, all right, we're just going to release these. And then he was playing basketball over in Africa for a couple of months. And then after that, it was just the whole just basketball dream thing was gone. I'm like, dang, bro, it just, how it's just a whole basketball thing. It just stopped. Like, I feel like we were paying attention to that. Next thing you know, this man's in the mixture of a beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Like, what's going on, bro? Time's moving by way too fast.
They just kind of came tied together, which is pretty common. It's actually more common than this. And then they do come with one of these guys right here, which is a full-on sample tag. And again, everything's filled out and all that stuff. So it says, July 11th, 2020. It was supposed to be a spring, summer 2021 release. Talks about the factory and all kinds of shit. So that's what that is. The shoes themselves, like these 6s, they come with their own version of that tag. And again, I think that that's really cool. So they're showing you the overall like promo sample or production sample, but they're also telling you about the sales samples as well. I think this is just awesome. Like as a shoe nerd, as a Jordan fan, all that stuff, this is great. And to top it all off, they even labeled the interior of the shoe, which is sometimes done, sometimes not, but it was mostly done in the 90s and 2000s, especially with Nike and Jordan products, where there's a big ass white stamp inside the shoe. Depending on what brand it is, it'll say.
It's like I wish that, well, because I don't know, like stuff like that. What concerns me is if I wear this shoe a lot and then eventually that is gonna disappear. So I wish like maybe it would have been like on a like thin, like just, like some sort of cloth, and then they just stitched it in. But then it's like at least it wouldn't like, Or yeah, I guess they could have did that too, where they could have just stitched it and stuff. But they're probably like, no, we want it to, look realistic. And I'm like, me, I don't care about realistic. I want to be able to look at these shoes like a year from now, and they still look like the same exact. Because I like the ones, the Air Jordan, the infrared sixes that I have. Like you could tell that they got old and stuff just from the amount of times I was wearing them outside, and then just over the years and stuff. But
Nike, or in this case Jordan, and it says not for resale and all that stuff. So that was also very common. So if you ever see that, like when you're like roaming eBay or something like that, it doesn't mean that it's fake. It means that it was, a sample, so it's rare.
Hello, I like money.
But yeah, that's essentially the gist of what's going on here. Promo sample, salesman sample, all wrapped into an accident or an error or factory variant of the original retro version of the Air Jordan 6 that was supposed to debut in 2000. And yeah, that's pretty much what these are. I think it's fucking cool. It's one of those things like where they're pulling a relic out of their closet, essentially, something that we never thought we'd see, and it's here. It's now, and it's fucking cool. Now, how do they compare to the regular Air Jordan 6 infrared? Well, first off, this back panel is like the first thing that I noticed, this back heel panel. It's done in a way to where it looks like it's a different material and kind of color than the rest of the upper, even though it isn't. And that was actually a feature that was on a lot of the original Air Jordan 6s back in 1991, where when they were trying to make this little ankle thing, like whatever this is, a little puffed out piece, in order to do that, they got to vacuum mold it onto like a mold essentially, and they got to use a lot of heat. And so it was making the Durabuck look waxed or leathered, even though it was nubuck.
Wow.
No, Durabuck, but like supposed to mimic nubuck. It was basically like heating things up to the point to where it would melt the fibers, and it would end up making the back area look like leather. So that's something that they did not really recreate on the last retro, which is these guys right here. But yeah, one thing also that's missing is the 3M or the reflective stuff that is behind all of the perforations on the regular infrareds, not featured here on the
that's
not so
weird.
infrareds. One of the things that they said in their press release of the shoe is that they actually extended the tongue to be 2 millimeters higher or taller, which is supposed to be more exact to MJ's actual pair that he wore in 1991.
Okay.
When I pulled them up, I mean, it doesn't feel like it's like incredibly taller, but at the same time, it's only 2 millimeters. So like, I don't know. It doesn't bother me either way, whether it was like the 2018 version or it's like this. It just kind of is what it is. They look like 6s to me. The outsole is just like every other Air Jordan 6 in the infrared colorway. They're pretty much blacked out. Giant infrared Jumpman, only in this case, it's crimson. And then you got the translucent outsole. I wish that they didn't have the tint on this, that translucent like blue tint, but
I just like an idea if I were to get into it might probably upset some people, but at the same time, I'm like, just to have it where if you wanted to get these pairs of shoes again, then it's like just a slight difference between them. I think I would have it because that was one thing I didn't like. There was the clear outsole, but have it where it's like it's red, so kind of it could be like the Air Jordan 11s and stuff. But that's what I would do, I guess, to change it up a little bit, like a red outsole, just to have it where it's just like a little difference with the original ones and stuff. But then I guess if people want the originals, I'm like, all right, then let's just go ahead and release the
Give them
originals.
enough time. They'll look like this.
Exactly. Yep. That's how mines look.
The midsole itself is polyurethane. Inside that polyurethane is an encapsulated 4-foot air sole unit. And then in the rear, there's a visible air sole unit. The insole is a little disappointing, I will say. I was expecting polyurethane. It's not. It's just a black dream cell. And then they do come with that sticker on there that says that the upper is synthetic and stuff. There's nothing genuine about these, but that's normal. It's an Air Jordan 6 in that infrared color. That's the way that they always were. This shoe, by the way, is board lasted. So inside there's a cardboard looking Strobel. Back in the day, that was like that OG style torsion support because there's no bar or shank or any of that stuff in here. The upper itself, like I was saying earlier, is a synthetic. It's full on synthetic nubuck, just the way that it should be. Although the originals were considered Durabuck, but that was a actual material from an actual company that manufactured a material that they dubbed Durabuck. It was a very durable, at least at the time, version of nubuck without being actual nubuck. So they would use it on certain sports shoes. Nowadays, that company is no longer in business. So we just got the synthetic nubuck and all that stuff. So nothing really crazy. Everything else is pretty much the same.
Probably because that's what it is too, where it's like Nike and Adidas and all these different sneaker companies. They're like, well, let's just go and rather than having to buy from these companies, let's just go and make our own machines that make Durabuck or that material and stuff. I feel like that would be a little bit easier, but yeah, at the same time, it's like, dang, rest in peace to that company.
With the exception of that ginormous Nike Air on the back, and the only reason why it looks so fucking big because it's actually colored. And this looks awesome. Like this is where like I'm like, bro, why wasn't it like that on the originals? All of the original 6s had a muted out branding on the heel, with the exception of the Carmines. That was the only one that had a different color on the back. Everything else, the stitching matched the material. It was just really weird. Now, in terms of fit, you can go true to size. Most people will be good going that route. If you have a very thin or narrow foot, you may want to consider going down half a size. They're a little bit roomy around the foot just because there's not a lot of padding in these, just a neoprene sleeve, and that's pretty much it. But true to size for most, you should be good to go. But with all that being said, what's today's viewer submitted question of the day?
We know the molds are really expensive thanks to the lessons that Chris gives us. So I don't understand why Nike doesn't keep the old molds with them.
Because they're not theirs. So Nike doesn't own its factories, and most shoe companies don't. Some do, but a lot of them don't. And what ends up happening is they hire a company to do a job. The company creates the product or the mold that they can complete the job with, and once everything's approved, it goes into full-blown production, and those molds stay with the factory. And so the factory is not going to keep them because they're just not. What happens with those molds is like up for debate because nobody truly knows unless you're actually over there. What I think that they do is that they kind of like give them when the shoes are no longer in production. Like back in the day, I think that they would sell these molds to other factories, and that's how we got such good fakes at certain points. Do they do that nowadays as well?
Maybe.
But yeah, that's basically what it is. They don't own the molds. They're outsourcing the work. You know, they're hiring.
I probably, if I worked at any of those factories, I probably would keep them, you know, and then I just probably have like, maybe not like a museum, but just kind of like a thing where, yeah, I guess if I wanted to, you know, if I did still be a content creator and then just kind of like, you know, talk on like how, but then I feel like then people will watch it. I don't know how I would go about that, but I think I would keep mines and stuff, you know. I'm like, yeah, I made this mold. I'm like, I'm keeping
You
it.
do something, the factory does it, and then when the job is done, the job's done. They close orders.
And that's all, folks.
But with all that being said, sound off below and let us know what you think about these guys, man. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one. So until then, y'all have a good one.
It's like, it's just, hold on for a second. Let me just go ahead and see what the sales is. That would be crazy if they still had them on the Nike website, but I know. No, they might, they're coming out in spring. Okay. So they haven't came out just yet, but okay. Actually, no, they're coming out next month on Valentine's Day. All right, you know, I might end up getting me a pair and stuff, you know, just overall. Just to, you know, just to get it, you know. It's like, yeah, I already have a pair, but I'm like, yeah, I might want to give me a second pair and stuff. So I don't know, man. But anyways, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where with the infrared 6s, I'm like, I did like mines a lot. Like I remember when I had got them and I was wearing them like it was quite a few different occasions where it was, I think because I didn't really wear them out in the rain that much, but then again, it's like Seattle, the weather is very unpredictable, so they'll say it'll be cloudy, all of a sudden it'll just start pouring down rain and stuff. So, but yeah, I did wear mines a lot. Like it was one of those things where I'm like, nah, that was like my first time really wanting to get me a pair, like, you know, like I woke up early in the morning to go get me a pair of shoes and stuff, because I think, yeah, it was like maybe 7, 8 in the morning when I had went out and got those. And so yeah, I was really excited. I was happy because I'm like, yeah, I ain't never really had that much, you know, if for one, yeah, didn't have that much luck to, you know, go out and get me a pair that they only have my size left. Yeah, that's some crazy stuff. So, but anyways, yeah, I probably might end up getting them, just, you know, do like a comparison, see what they look like and all that stuff. Probably have it where these ones still wear the other ones outside, but then, you know, I guess when they just fall apart and then, you know, can't be worn no more, then break out the Salesman's version. But anyways, no, but make sure if you guys haven't, go subscribe to Wear Testers for more videos like this. Like, subscribe to me too, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.